Welcome back to another episode of the Family Album, Family Heads. I'm your host, AJ Sonari.
And I'm your other host, Matt Glass.
Last week, you heard our very special guest episode where we had our first returning guest, Tom Murphy, as we discussed comedy albums, Turtleneck and Chain and Starbomb.
It was honestly quite a fun time of just dipping into nostalgia and just, a bunch of other shenanigans.
Exactly.
Because those albums are pretty zany, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
really fit the vibe, I think.
I think so, too.
As we possibly lost a member of our own family in Kyle.
Rest in peace. The service will be held at some point.
Yes.
But
he was never found, but at this point, it's just been so long, we don't know if he's ever coming back.
If you're a real one, we'll send you an RSVP in the mail. Yeah.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about Kyle.
No, you're not.
We're here to talk about our regular format. 2 albums, picks by you and me, Matt. What do we got this week?
It's the structure. We got Are We Not Men? We Are Devo by Devo.
Yep.
And then we got Give Me the Future, a concept album by the very, I'd say, polarized artist, Bastille.
I think it's a good way to put it.
Polarized is definitely the way I would, because people either really like them or hate them for a lot of reasons.
Gotcha.
They're kind of like more alternative Coldplay, if that makes sense.
I was getting a lot of Coldplay vibes, especially from the voice, which I'll get into when we get into it.
Of course.
I guess to clarify, I gave Matt Devo, Matt gave me Bastille.
Yes.
But before we dive into either of those albums, we're going to take a little break, have a nice little ad, so enjoy that, and we'll see you when we get back.
We shall return soon.
Hey, Matt, you know what I love?
Steely Dan?
Well, yes, but I also love how easy it is for 2 goobers like us to make a podcast.
I mean, with Spotify for Podcasters, it's no wonder. Spotify for Podcasters is a one-stop shop that's got everything you need to create the perfect podcast.
That's right. Using Spotify for Podcasters, you can directly record and edit your podcast wherever you are, using their intuitive and easy-to-use website.
And once you're done editing, Spotify for Podcasters takes care of the hard part and distributes your podcast directly to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are available.
And now you can even make video podcasts available on Spotify, which gives you even more freedom to make the podcast you want, while also giving your lovely listeners a chance to see your face.
Speaking of listeners, Spotify for Podcasters also encourages fan engagement by letting you get feedback directly from your listeners with Q&As and polls made by you.
You can even make money with your podcast through ads, podcast subscriptions, and donations directly from your audience.
Spotify for Podcasters offers all of this, and it's completely free to use with no catch whatsoever.
Guys, Spotify for Podcasters made recording and distributing the family album so easy. Being able to schedule our episodes ahead of time and letting them take care of distribution took so much weight off our shoulders.
For anyone that's ever even thought about starting a podcast, we highly recommend giving Spotify for Podcasters a try.
You can download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Once again, download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters.
Wow, wasn't that fucking epic?
Yeah. It was a little scary, though. I didn't know where those other voices came from.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, at the Family Album Studio, whenever we go into an ad break, we actually disappear into a pocket dimension, actually.
It's kind of like the Truman Show.
Yeah, but... And nail on the head, man. It's quite a Truman Show concept.
But yeah, AJ, what album would you like to start with first?
Oh man, I get to choose. Fuck it, man. Let's go Devo.
All right, I'm down.
Yeah. So this is an album that I discovered about a year ago. But I listened to Devo 2 years ago. I listened to their other really accessible album, Freedom of Choice. I liked it. Went to their debut. I think I liked it even more. This is a really cool debut album. Very cool new wave post-punk album. So what'd you think, Matt?
They definitely have a presence. I very much like the overall vibe. Track by track, there are some tracks I definitely enjoyed more than others, but I gotta say overall, I did not hate what I listened to.
Yeah.
So
they don't have a type of quirkiness and personality similar to Ween. It's their own signature style, which I think is very fun.
And this is their infant stages, sort of, kind of?
Yeah, this is their debut album, so...
Okay.
Which is interesting. They definitely change their sound as they go. If you listen to this and their other big album, Freedom of Choice, it sounds kind of different, especially within the vocals, but it's a lot more toned down.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What the fuck is the album cover? It's like a golf ball, and then behind the it's a golf ball behind this guy.
Yeah. So that man is a golfer.
Okay.
It's basically a parody painting of the golfer Juan Chichi Rodriguez. I don't know why they wanted to do that because, they're Devo, they're goofy, they're going to do what they do.
Listen, it's 1978. What the fuck else are we going to put on our album cover?
I know, like golfers were all the rage in 78, dude.
My next album is going to have Tiger Woods on it.
I don't know if you want that.
Listen, you're going to hear the quality of the album pretty soon. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But why don't you dive into a little bit of a history?
All right, as that is my job. So Are We Not Men, We Are Devo was released August 28th, 1978 on Warner Brothers Records and was produced by Brian Eno.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Now that you mention that, I can definitely hear that
Like the influence.
The sort of influence and a little bit of like experimentation with the overall sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to say, this has a little bit of like the surf rock also kind of
the punky feeling, yeah.
Especially on the one track.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm excited to dive in. So let's just dive in.
All right, starting off, we have Uncontrollable Urge. I think this is one of their biggest songs, and it definitely earns that right. It's a great way to start the album.
It really is.
It's really hype, just like straightforward punk song. It's awesome. I love the riff. I love his vocals. Mark Mother's Bow. That's his name.
I see.
He's got such a unique voice.
He really does. It just reminds me of Talking Heads.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very David Byrne-esque.
And I appreciate it for that because I've become recently I become like a huge fan of Talking Heads.
Yeah.
As you can tell, the constant reference of the one song. So, if you're a true family head, so I mean.
Hey, who knows? Maybe one will appear in this episode.
We'll see. We'll see. But I think it's a very strong intro. One thing, this track, the drums are very fucking good.
They're so good.
Overall, on this whole album, the drums are really fucking good. And just honestly, like, I love how fucking like, kind of like,
in your face it is. Yeah. I love the beat switches too.
Yes.
And like how like frequent they happen. It's so fucking cool. It really keeps you on your toes and like super energized. It's awesome, man.
For sure. It's a very strong intro.
And that guitar riff too.
Yeah.
Ba-na-na-na.
It's a fun time. It's kind of like, because I feel like when punk was like in this stage, it wasn't exactly all just like social commentary all the time.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think this definitely fits more into new wave and post punk than like pure punk. Because like it has like the nerdy elements in there of like more art rock influence, which is I prefer honestly than straight ahead punk.
I can also probably attest to that as well.
Yeah, it's just more interesting, I think.
Yeah, it's fun because like most of the time topics in this sort of genre can range from literally anything.
Yeah, like you have the Dead Kennedys doing their thing, and then you have Devo, who's doing it in a completely different way. So it's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And a very, very great way to start off this record.
Yes. Next up, we have I Can't Get No Satisfaction, which is, of course, a cover of the Rolling Stones, and a very interesting take on it, but it's cool.
It is pretty cool. And it was why I was like, oh shit, it's this I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Yeah, no, honestly, even though I don't think this is my favorite track in the album, I think I like
agree.
this. I think I like this cover more than the Rolling Stones. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to unveil something. I don't like the Rolling Stones that much.
I'm not a big Stones guy either.
I think, in my opinion, and feel free to target acquired. You know what I mean? Like, feel free. But honestly, I don't like the Rolling Stones. I think they're pretty overrated. I think they're a staple in like where they were at the time. But like they're not like a lot of other artists in that same like genre and area of music where like
you're gonna go back to.
No. Yeah. And I think like Paint It Black, She's a Rainbow, great. Fantastic even. But
I would say they're probably my least favorite British invasion band.
I was gonna say they're British Invasion, but I got nervous because I'm trying not to be wrong.
I believe they are.
Yeah.
I think it's Beatles, Stones, The Who. I could be wrong about that one, and then someone else. But there's like the big four, maybe the Kinks.
And then there are also like some other ones too. Like I think the Zombies are technically also they're technically also part of it.
Possibly. Are the Kinks British? I could just be a fucking idiot on that one. Guys, if I'm an idiot, I already know that, but call me an idiot anyway.
If I'm an idiot for saying how much I really don't like the Rolling Stones, you can call me an idiot too, man.
Yeah, we're family here. We can take it.
Hey, try to convince me. I'm starting to kind of like American football, if you want me to call back to that. I'm kind of getting there.
That makes me happy.
I still think that, but that's life. It's still, oh God.
Still bad.
So bad.
Fair.
But we're not talking about that.
No, we're talking about Are We Not Men, We Are Devo.
Question answered. To be honest with you, like, I do like this more than the original. I still feel like for 2 minutes and 40 seconds, it feels a bit long.
Yeah, because it's very repetitive. And it sounds nothing like the original, which I will give credit for. It sounds very different, which is cool. It's this more like funk kind of bass beat with the bass line.
Dude, that fucking bass line rips, though.
It's really good.
I will say.
Yeah.
Even like even the songs that I don't love as much on this record, I do find something in them that I do appreciate.
Like the musicality is very impressive throughout.
Yeah, for sure. Like the bass honestly shines. It definitely drives the song forward, or the cover of the song forward.
Also, the drum production on this song specifically is cool. There's a lot of switching channels going on, which I like a lot.
Now that you told me that Brian Eno produced this, I'm going to be thinking like, oh yeah, that makes more sense as to why. Yes. But hey, listen, Praying Hands. This is the surf rock sort of influence right here, and there's Brian Eno for you. It works.
It's cool.
It fucking works.
Sounds like a Beach Boys song.
AJ, what the fuck is the guy diddling?
Diddlin'?
Yeah.
You could probably be diddling what you expect. It's a song about sex.
All right. Well,
It's kind of like a parody of like a TV evangelist. If he were doing like an instructional like video about how to have sex. It's about like a fun little like dance you do, but about having sex.
Question: Is this instructional video available for purchase by any chance?
Asking for a friend?
Yeah.
I'd have to ask Mr. Devo, but I'll get back to you.
Gotcha.
Mr. Vo.
Mr. Vo.
Mr. Vo.
Nah, but Praying Hands, it fucks though. Like I love there's like a little bit of like a chill kind of like beat going on, but then it kind of builds up and then there's more action in the guitar later on.
Yeah.
And oh my god, when they take those moments to just kind of like stop for a second and they keep going, like it's so good. The only thing I don't like is that the lyrics are a little annoying, but it's
Take
okay.
your left hand.
It kind of reminded me of like a weirder version of I'm going to teach you how to do the sponge.
Do the sponge, take your hand.
You're doing the sponge. God, I love it. But hey, honestly, even though I don't really love this track that much, I like surf rock. It definitely fulfills that in many areas. And it's honestly a pretty solid track.
It's solid. Nothing I would ever go back to, but like on the album, I like it a lot.
I would definitely re-listen to this album again, but we'll save that for the conclusion.
Exactly.
This next track I really enjoyed. It's called Space Junk. And yeah, I love the whatever the fucking bell tones are happening like up above in like the track. Something about that is just that scratched an itch in my brain.
It's really cool. I also like the guitar riff overall. It's like it's weirdly wholesome.
Yeah.
It's strange. I don't know. It's got like this like really like comforting feel, but it's a new wave album, so I don't know. It's a weird juxtaposition, but it works.
But it also sounds like a Ramones song at the same time.
Because it has that like speed and that tempo and like syncopation.
Like it's got some Blitzkrieg bop kind of like feel.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
On like the guitars.
Yeah. That's what, like, I don't know. But I will say that guitar solo riff thingy, like that goes throughout.
Yeah.
There's like a little guitar solo that goes throughout the song, but then there's like the guitar solo toward the very end.
Fucking shreds, dude.
It does shred. I just love how like fucking like meaty the guitars sound.
Yeah.
Though. Like they're so like substantial, so solid.
So upfront, which is great too.
Yeah.
I also love Mother's Bow's vocals, the Texas. He's got like has a great way of just like enunciating words. It's funny.
Texas. I love it. Again, pretty solid. I liked it a lot.
And you know it's funny because this song's about a girl who's killed by falling space debris.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like based off of a true story?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
I hope not.
Yeah, same here.
That'd be kind of wild. I'd be like, yo, oh my God.
You're the girl from Space Junk.
Dude, starring Michael Jordan? My God. No, but honestly though, Space Junk sounds like a really bad fanfic of Space Jam.
Oh my God.
Daffy goes to Taco Bell.
Oh no.
Oh man, that horrendous.
The sequel we never wanted.
Oh God, I don't think nobody wanted the first one either. God, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not explaining it to you.
Or do, and then that's on you.
Let's make that the poll. Do you know what Matt's talking about? No, I'm kidding. Back to the subject at hand, because I do not want to go on that tangent. Space Junk, track number 4. Fun.
Solid.
This next one, though.
Yeah. one of their best songs.
This is a shiner on the album.
Yeah.
Mongoloid?
Mongoloid. So this song, while it is really good, there is some controversy around it.
Okay.
Because the word Mongoloid is an outdated term for someone with Down syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah. So like this.
Fuck.
Yeah. The
Okay.
song concept is about, because the whole like concept about Devo, their name is from de-evolution, because they think like society is regressing backwards.
Okay.
So the concept of this song specifically is someone with Down syndrome is actually able to fit into society better in this devolved society because he's blissfully ignorant to all the like corruption around him.
Yeah.
So it's, I've heard like defense of it where it's like it's building up the person with Down syndrome, but I feel like the use of the word, even though it was the 80s, you know, it still sucks. It's just it's a weird situation with this song.
It really is.
Because it's really catchy, which sucks.
I straight up had like no idea.
Yeah.
And it sucks because like I wish I knew that at the beginning because all my notes are, wow, this sounds so cool.
Like musically, it's fucking great.
It is.
The bass line is awesome. I love how like in the intro, all the instruments like come in one by one before that synth riff comes in.
Yo, that synth is so like stringy and like, crazy. Like, oh my God. I hate how musically like fun it is.
Yeah.
Given the context
I
of
know.
like the song.
It sucks, man.
Damn.
I mean, like
1978, I guess.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's just it's a shitty situation, man.
It is.
Like it's definitely a song that did not age well, but it sucks because like production wise and musically, it's really fucking good. Even like the lyrics are offensive. Like there's a line, "One chromosome too many." That's like, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's unfortunate. I didn't even pay attention to the lyrics in this one. I only paid attention to like the
music.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate, like I learned this like kind of recently. Like when I first heard the song, I was like, oh, like Mongoloid, isn't that like offensive? But like I didn't really do any further research till I brought it to the show, which I was really disappointed to learn about, man. I mean, like I still like it, even though it has really bad like connotations around it, but musically it's a very strong song.
For what it's worth, musically they did a good job, but lyrically they just kind of like, you know, and it, oy.
Whatever your opinions are on it, that's up to you.
For sure, for sure. I say let's continue on to track number 6.
Jocko Homo, more of an upbeat, kind of very weird song.
Can I ask what this song is about, AJ?
Give me a minute. It's basically like the band's mission statement where they're talking about like de-evolution in society. Like Jocko Homo is kind of like a Homo sapien.
Homo sapien, okay.
Yeah, like you're reverting back to like your ape days, you know?
I didn't want to seem like I was just like searching, like, oh shit, first they do that. Then, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure that like,
this is just purely about like de-evolution. And then just like playing with that idea.
Gotcha.
Because, you know, it's like, it's a call and response song. It's stupid as fuck, you know? Are we not men? We are Devo.
I like how this is almost like the title track in a weird way.
Yeah.
I like when albums do that, when they don't make like a title track, but like something they
lyric,
say in like is like the title of the album. Like, I can respect that.
Yeah.
For sure. It feels kind of like a shit post.
Oh, it 100% is a shit post.
Okay, good. But it also like punches so hard.
I know, like the music is actually just like surprisingly good.
I started out hating it, and then like once it starts like really getting into it.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird kind of like, it almost sounds like a record scratch, but like I know it's not because it's 1978. So like, well, maybe
it's probably just like a synth effect, I would guess,
probably,
or maybe some random production. I like the guitar on this song. It has like almost disco kind of style, which is cool.
Yeah, I did write that too. There is like a disco pacing to this for sure. I feel like this song feels a bit ahead of its time, like a little bit by a couple years. I'm a fan of it.
It's neat.
It really turned me around pretty fast, not gonna lie.
The backing vocals on the song are also really good, and it's just it's perfectly quirky and chaotic, and it doesn't really overstay its welcome.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Now move on to the next song, Too Much Paranoias. This is probably one of my least favorite songs on the album.
I also do not like I don't like the song nearly as much as a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
And well, this one and Mongoloid might be they might be tied for ones that I don't really love that much. You know, but the reason why I don't like this one, and this is funny, another controversial band opinion, this song sounds like a Weezer song to me called El Scorcho.
Really?
Yes, and it reminds me of that, like loosely, and because of that, I don't like it because I do not like El Scorcho by
That's one of my
Weezer.
favorite Weezer songs.
I'm very sorry. It's probably like my least favorite Weezer song of all time.
Wow.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit of an overstatement. That's a bit of an overstatement.
Have you heard The Girl Got Hot?
I've heard Ratitude. And that's the first track is the best track of Ratitude, and that's not saying
It's
compared to everything else. It's definitely in like the top 20 least favorite songs by Weezer.
That's
I think.
interesting. Wow.
I just don't like like Rivers' delivery on that is just so weird. But we're not talking about Pinkerton by Weezer.
No, we're talking about Are We Not Men, We're Devo by the band Devo, released 1978 on Warner Records.
Dude, I never would have guessed. Nah, honestly, like the weird instrumental syncopated like slamming beat. It's like I will say it's creative.
Yeah, it's very quirky and chaotic.
It reminded me of like 3 different songs.
So where does the El Scorcho I guess reminder come through? Is it the vocals?
I think it's like I think it's the vocals and
Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce.
Yeah.
Special orders don't upset us.
I don't know what it was. I'll have to re-listen again. Like something about it, I was just like, ugh, El Scorcho.
Ay caramba!
But then it later sounds like a weird B-side almost to like A Kind of Magic by Queen. It sounds.
I don't think I've heard that one.
There's a song on A Kind of Magic, that record by Queen, that it's called One Vision, and like for a split second it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
And then the ending sounds like Come Together by the Beatles, just like a tad.
Okay.
It like reminded me of like 3 different songs. And it was fine. I don't think I like it very much though.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of really weird instrumental choices for me to like really like about it.
Plus the vocals are very like grating and over the top on this song.
Yeah.
And the instrumental is kind of repetitive throughout.
The first listen I did of this song, I was doing laundry in my apartment, and I was literally putting in my Tide Pods, and I was like, the fuck is this? But I mean, hey, it's
Special orders do upset me.
I gained nothing from this. No, but honestly, it doesn't drag the album down like too much.
Nah, it's just like a weak point on a very solid album.
Yeah, honestly. And all the songs are pretty brief.
Yeah, like this is a very short album. It's like, I believe 34 minutes, 32 minutes.
It's like roughly a little over a half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's fine. It's just not one of my favorites. It's probably my least favorite.
But as we move on from one of the weakest, we move on to one of the strongest on this album.
I really like the overall vibe of this entire song.
Yeah.
The piano just like fucks
It's
once
so
it kicks
good.
in. There's also this weird, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like this weird kind of like it almost sounds like Sonic, like
Sonic music.
a little bit in terms of
I think the synth. Yeah.
it gets to like this weird like almost galactic-y kind of sound a little bit. Just a little bit, not too much. A little bit of glamour.
Let's run the one back, all right? Let's not get carried away there.
I love how it eventually starts to speed up though.
Yes.
And it picks up.
That's part 2. That's Slap Your Man. Oh, this is Gut Feeling / Slap Your Mammy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the Slap Your Mammy part where it's just pure punk like throughout.
It reminds me of like in terms of song structure. This is the one where I feel like Talking Heads like ish
100%.
feels. I like was really feeling it with this 8th track.
Yeah.
In song structure, it reminded me of another Queen song. Do you know off of A Night at the Opera's Sweet Lady?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It reminds me of that with the delivery a little bit.
I can hear that.
Of like the refrain. Because they say it over and over and over again. And even though it's like a different tempo and like a different like probably a different key too, it just like it reminded me of that like does like the verse and then it just like repeats this thing like 7 or 8 times or whatever.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of that, which I liked.
Yeah, it's
so,
cool.
Honestly,
like, it's a really good hook, and like I don't know, his vocals are just really like cool on this song.
They are.
They're not like the best, but like they fit the song really well.
I think his vocals fit the vibe of this record and just the band very well, from what I can tell so far.
They're very unique and very Devo.
Who else but Devo? Oh man. One last thing I will say: the little synth theremin thingy too.
Yep.
Sounds so fucking cool. It makes the track sound so strange, and I love it. That was definitely the Eno,
of course,
because he always liked to add like from what I've been listening to like a little bit more of like some of his produced stuff like here or there, and like he always likes to add this like kind of weird like almost like sci-fi ish kind of sound to some of it.
Yeah, that's very prevalent in his solo work too.
It's interesting.
It's cool. He's got a very good style.
Shall we move on to Comeback Jonee?
Yes, sir.
Number 9.
This is a fun song, very reminiscent of like 50s rock, very reminiscent of Chuck Berry especially.
Yeah. I like how this this song has like a little bit of like a sort of like a interesting like freaky-ish vibe.
Yeah.
Which, but like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I do feel like it goes on a little bit too long. Like it feels like
I think that's fair.
it feels just like a little bit like on the longer side, and I get a little bit weary like halfway through.
I don't see it so much in this song, some others on this album, especially like coming up, but I feel like this song is very solid for what it is. I like the whole aesthetic of it. The backing vocals are really nice. The guitar solo fucking rips.
I really do. I love the part where it starts to punch at the end of them like singing Jonee.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something about their inflection. I'm like, wow, this is kind of
man. It's cool.
This is cool.
Even though it's a song about the JFK assassination.
I really got to start researching track by track. Good Lord. I would have never guessed that.
It's part of the punk movement. They're just gonna do what the fuck they want.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it. 1978.
Yeah.
Sloppy, I saw my baby Gettin.
This song's fucking wild.
It sounds very similar a little bit to the last one, like at least in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like a little bit. But
definitely a lot more punk influence than new wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fade in of him saying hey in the beginning. He has a lot of energy on this track, which I will appreciate.
Like the intro of the song really reminds me of like Splatoon music.
I've never played Splatoon.
Have you ever heard any of the music?
No.
I think you dig it. It's a fun game. But like it's just like with all the haze in the background and the spontaneous like music, it just kind of clicked like, oh, I could hear this in like Splatoon 3 or some shit.
That'd be wild. Imagine just this playing in the middle of Splatoon 3.
I would love it.
All the players would be like, what the fuck is
this? Is Devo, dude. And then they would lose because I'm used to it.
It's like, what the? Are we not men?
And then I sneak attack with my splatter shot and I would say, no, we are Devo. And then I win.
Are we not squids? Are they squids?
We are kids.
Anyway,
You ever heard that ad campaign? You're a kid now, you're a squid now?
No.
That was the first commercial for Splatoon.
Actually?
Yeah, it was like one of the most like infamous meme commercials. I'll play a clip right now.
You're a kid, you're a squid, you're a kid, you're a squid, you're a kid now.
Wow, wasn't that cool?
Wow. So informational. Nah, but like honestly, the song's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love the slowdown during the chorus.
It's so interesting. I love their creative drive and that weird, like disheveled, like hollowed, like I don't even know what is it. Like it's like
During the chorus? Oh yeah, I have no idea. I would guess like a synth or something.
I was thinking like it kind of sounds like you know, like a whammy bar on a guitar.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like someone going like
on the string,
and, like pressing it and like they're pushing down on the whammy bar and like
extending it.
Yeah, and like making it because you know guitars. But anyway. I feel like none of that explanation was good unless you were like
guitar
seeing
movement,
what I was seeing. I know you probably thought a guitar was just like talking to you right now.
It happens a lot in the studio. You'd be surprised.
It's true. Anyway, I love how they utilize this weird like sound.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like hard cut the song.
Yeah. It's cool. It's a very like dirty, grungy track, and I like it a lot.
It is. And
we reached the end of the album with Shrivel Up. I feel like this is a very fitting closer for this album, even though it's very weird.
Yeah, this was a weird outro, and I'm not the biggest fan of it being at the very end, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe I should have like just appreciated it for what it is, considering like the whole vibe was just them kind of being like
quirky and like weird.
Like, we're Devo. But I feel like it's just a little bit too wacky for me to be a closer. And then it also ends like so abruptly.
Yeah. It's this weird like spoken word almost song with this funky like guitar riff, and like funky not like as the funk genres are weird.
It has this like weird sound that goes throughout like the whole song. I don't even know how to describe it. Sounds like water droplets that are auto-tuned almost.
Like R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. I'll play a beat of that in the background so you get what I mean, but
wait.
Yep.
Interesting. No, it's like this weird like I don't even know, it's like I can't even describe the noise.
Oh, I do know what you're talking about. Like the basically the beat of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird. It's kind of like when the Residents were slamming metal on that one song.
Yeah, the Residents. No, it
seems so long ago.
It really, really does. I miss that infant tango.
Every day.
The Spotted Pinto Bean. I actually listened to that again. The Spotted Pinto Bean in particular.
Yeah.
But
nice, man.
It's not a bad track. I just think it was a weird way to end the album.
Yeah, it's definitely not a favorite, but it's definitely Devo, so I can respect it.
It's an okay ender, but not, in my opinion, the best track.
Oh, 100%.
Or entirely one that lives up to the rest of the album, in my opinion. I feel like
Gotcha.
they could have done a little bit more. But honestly, hey, I don't have any better ideas.
Are We Not Men, Matt?
No, we are Devo.
Yes. Matt, what are your final thoughts on Are We Not Men, We Are Devo?
I definitely have a lot of respect for the overall execution of the album. The songs, like, even though they sound a little bit similar, it's like, I feel like they just kind of capture the same vibe.
Yeah.
And they all at least have something that I appreciate about them, even the ones that like I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
It surely is a vibe to say the least, but then again, it's not a bad one.
Yeah.
I think like you could definitely appreciate some stuff. I'll have to re-listen again because I there are tracks on here that I do like. I've never heard of this group before, and I like the way they sounded. I might check them out.
Yeah, man. I think you definitely enjoy Freedom of Choice. That's a very accessible album. If it's different, but definitely like way more like toned down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like I got a little bit weary of the album, like
That's fair.
kind of like a little bit quickly,
Yeah.
but the good things about it are pretty good. And I feel like the guitars and like the drums, the vocals, they just like really carry the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the bass. I don't know why I didn't write the bass too.
Yeah, the musicality is fucking incredible throughout this album. And the production too.
I just feel like they also kind of fall in that little portion of the late 70s and 80s where there were kind of these like weird like novelty songs
Okay.
that were like at
Disco Duck?
at the clubs. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this reminded me a lot of like Rock Lobster in many, like the whole overall album. Not Don't Throw at Me with a Good Time.
Oh,
by
yes.
Panic at the Disco.
Check out episode 7 for that.
Oh yes, and AJ's thoughts. It's possibly my favorite. It is my favorite descriptions ever. But yeah, no, the overall album reminded me of like a weird like Rock Lobster influence kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it. I feel like it was fine.
Yeah.
So I would give this a solid like 7.8
Cool.
out of 10 and like a B minus.
Nice.
Like it's not my favorite, but I think like it's not my favorite genre overall. But I think I definitely would give it a listen again.
Cool.
And it's definitely palatable enough for and worth the listen.
Nice.
So yeah.
Cool. I'm a big fan of this album. It did take me a while for it to click. Like the songs I liked a lot, but I didn't really grow an appreciation for the other tracks till like further re-listens.
Yeah.
So coming back to this, I actually really enjoyed this experience. I feel like it's a great introduction to new wave and just like punk music in general, and Brian Eno's production.
Yeah.
As I said like 8 times already, the musicality is fucking great. All the musicians kill it. Bass and drums and guitar, honestly, all of them pull their weight very well.
They really do. I will give them that.
The vocalist is chaotic, but really fits the tone of this whole album. So it can get a grading at points, but that's kind of the point. So you got to respect that a little bit. And I just like the overall aesthetic of this album. So I'm going to give this about an 8.5 out of 10 and a solid A minus.
I can respect that because there are definitely elements of this record that you can admire as a whole.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
It's definitely like influential.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well, AJ, you know how this works.
Sadly, I do.
Oh man. So the album, if your attention span is that of a goldfish, sorry, that was really aggressive. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
For all of our goldfish out there, we apologize.
Yeah. Didn't mean to offend the aquatic community as well. I didn't like Aquaman. I'm sorry.
Jason Momoa, if you are out there, I will send you a formal apology. Just,
Please don't kill me.
Exactly.
You are a cool guy, but also a terrifying man. I do not want you to fight me. I've seen Game of Thrones, like that one episode. Holy shit.
when Aquaman came into Game of Thrones, that was crazy.
I would fucking hate that. No, but I chose this interesting album, I feel like, in the Bastille community that I do like, but not as much as their other stuff. It's called Give Me the Future.
Yeah, their most recent release, I believe, as of recording.
And it is a concept album about like a dystopian, like, it's like a
Kind of. I mean, like,
more in the music videos, I feel like. in the
maybe that's what I'm
promos.
missing. Because I have gripes about like the tone and the theme of this album, but I'll get into that the more we dissect each track. But I kind of took it more as like a theme about escapism and like technology taking over society, like at this point in time.
And it kind of leads to like the whole idea of like this rundown, like,
Yeah. Bastille-esque city.
I think they kind of relate it almost to like, I feel like there's kind of some like topics of maybe even relating this to like drug abuse, but also the fact that like technology just and he's, even though he's like, it's drastically like emphasized and exaggerated in the music videos and the songs. It's more like I think he's just kind of talking about social media as a whole.
Oh, 100%. That shows up so often on this album.
Because like Dan Smith is, I do like him, like, don't get me wrong, and I do like the band, but he's had this like weird like apocalyptic vision of like the world forever.
I see. So this wasn't like a new thing?
No, it's been kind of like an early on thing. Like
Okay.
you get little it touches upon it a little bit in this weird like first album of theirs called All This Bad Blood or Bad Blood, and then All This Bad Blood, the extended version.
Squeakle.
Every single one of their albums has an extended version.
Gotcha.
I like Doom Days. So that was one they released kind of like in like I think a little bit before quarantine. So.
Okay.
But this one has 3 releases.
Really?
This one has, I believe, let me refer to Spotify real fast. This one has the initial release of Gimme the Future. Then I believe I made you listen to the deluxe version.
I just listened to the bass version.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Good. Perfect.
Bet.
Because the deluxe version just adds more remixes.
Gotcha.
And then
Bet.
there's Gimme the Future plus Dreams of the Past.
I did hear about this, yeah.
And it's like a huge like extender where a lot of the other tracks are kind of mid, to be honest. I find that a lot of bonus tracks by Bastille are not great.
So was it Dreams of Our Past? Is that what it's called?
I think it's Dreams of the Past.
Dreams of the Past. So is that like kind of an extension of this album, or just like tracks that didn't make it on to Give Me the Future?
It's an extension of this
Okay,
album,
cool.
I think, because he's always just writing things.
Gotcha.
A lot of what makes Bastille fun is the fact that like their live performances, because
Yeah.
they kind of became known as this band that like
They're the Pompeii guys.
the Pompeii guys, which is part of the reason people fucking hate them, because a lot of people really hate that song. Even me, I don't really like that song anymore because I used to listen to it like all the time. It's actually the first Bastille song I ever listened to
I mean, that makes sense.
because it was really popular.
Yeah.
It was in the Mr. Peabody and Sherman
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, I
Holy
remember
shit.
that. That's how I discovered it.
Your Bastille awakening was to Mr. Peabody.
The trailer for the weird Mr. Peabody and Sherman remake. I feel like I'm talking too much and you got to get to the history,
All right,
but I'm just telling you like why I picked it.
that's fair. You're like a Bastille fan, right?
I am.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this was a weird, like, this direction of sound was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, neither was I. But I'll get into my thoughts as we explore these tracks further. But Gimme the Future by Bastille was released February 4th, 2022 on EMI Records. Bastille formed in 2010 and consists of members Dan Smith on vocals, Kyle Simmons on keys, Will Farquharson on bass and guitar, and Chris Woods on drums.
Lord Farquaad was on this album, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, any resemblance?
No,
All right.
not whatsoever.
Fair enough.
At all. Actually, I'd say that maybe the lead singer has more of a resemblance
So Lord
to like
Farquaad?
the face shape a little, just like a little bit. But I don't know. Dan Smith, don't hate me. I actually really like a lot of your music, and I think you're pretty creative. And
Dan Smith, you can hate me. I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah. So I say let's dive in. I can keep sharing my thoughts more and more.
Yeah. I said before we dive in, I just want to say this was kind of like their COVID response album because it was made during quarantine and like a lot of those thoughts like lyrically intrude in this album. So, you know, you kind of get a sense of what we're getting into.
Of course, this was a long time in the making. I think they were making this in the middle of their documentary coming out.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, they have a documentary on Spotify.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. It's how they became known as like the people who would just always have an orchestra for their live performances.
Ah.
And I respect the hell out of that.
Is it called We're Gonna Bastille Your Hearts?
No. Oh my God. It's like the prison.
Yeah.
Do you want to know why they're called Bastille?
Why is that?
The lead singer was born on Bastille Day.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's cute. I love Rush, the band.
Oh man. Let's just jump in.
Yes, so starting off, we have Distorted Light Beam, the lead single from this album, or one
Yeah,
of them.
Pretty much. It's like it's the first one that came out.
Okay.
Shit, I did it again, guys.
Oh, dude, we gotta ring the alarm now.
Oh man, it's loud.
Whoa, yeah.
Sensory overload.
Okay, anyway, the song is about escapism through the use of your online persona. It's one of my more preferred songs on this album. It leans very heavily into like the synthwave aesthetic, which is cool. The lyrics on this album are kind of ass through and through.
Yeah, it's not his finest work.
Like he talks about leveling up, like, you know, my life is like a video game. That's fucking epic, dude. Very cool. I will say I like the use of strings and horns for this album, but you know, I like that on any album. So
That's fair. That's
low
fair.
bar to clear. Sorry, Bastille.
You know why I like it? I love strings.
Yeah, they're the best. You know, fucking eating out of your hand, Matt.
I do love the whole just the da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da, da, with the strings happening. That beginning note sounded horrendous.
Well, it's okay. I can't sing at all, so you got me beat there.
Yeah, no, I will not turn it off if it comes on, but I never pick it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I have a playlist because I am a fan.
that's fair, dude. I mean, I feel bad like about ripping on this album. I just didn't really enjoy it.
Go ahead. A lot of people kind of feel the same way. I after their one album, Wild World, a lot of people don't really like their stuff anymore.
Gotcha.
They liked Pompeii, then they hated Pompeii. They got some good songs off of that album that came on. And their second album, Wild World, was, I feel like the true fans really liked it because it was just this weird, like, that was more dystopian than this. And then Doom Days was just kind of there. I personally really like it, but I understand why people don't like it. And then this one is probably like the most polarizing out of all of them.
I mean, I can see why. I mean, there's a lot of creative choices on here I feel like don't work. Like, there's a use of a harmonizer that happens like throughout this album, and it's really cheesy. As I said, lyrically, it's very bad. And tonally, this album is very confused. Like, it says it wants to lean into the concept of like a dystopian future, but it also has songs about like young relationships and like having fun and like, you know, maybe escapism isn't that bad. It's like it wants to have its cake and eat it too.
Yeah, it's really weird. He kind of like tries to layer like different meanings.
Yeah.
But he's very on the nose about it.
Yeah. Oh, there's one fucking lyric on the song Back to the Future that I'm going to call out.
Oh, I can't wait.
But yeah, this song, it's one of the better songs on the album, but I'm not like huge on it.
I know you don't like his voice, but I actually love his voice.
I don't want to sound like an asshole, but it's just really fucking British.
Go ahead. Like, go sound like an asshole, honestly. It's okay. It's not even my favorite if this was Wild World, I'd be more upset.
Okay.
But honestly, this album, I will say, is honestly even quite a tone shift for us Bastille fans.
I mean, like, I can see that. From like even like Pompeii, it sounds very different. Well, this next track is Thelma Louise. As I said, this is a direct tone shift from the first song where it's talking about like technology, social media, all this, and now it's just talking about like having fun.
It's supposed to be like he's flipping back and forth, deciding whether or not he actually like wants to do something about it.
Oh,
or
okay.
just give in. And
Gotcha.
I think that's kind of,
Okay.
and I think the music videos help a lot with that.
Yeah.
Because they have this weird thing. It's like a weird like hyperlink thing they put up to the temples of their head, and people like their eyes roll in the back of their head, and they go into this like dream world.
Okay.
That is really shittily animated. I think that's done purposely, but like it's kind of funny. Not gonna lie. But I like this track. It's
right.
like more upbeat. The upbeat songs
Yeah.
I think are kind of fun. It's got this weird like When Doves Cry kind of like drum beat to it, which is weird.
I don't remember that. I just wrote down that the drums were boring.
It sounds like a weird ripoff of When Doves Cry to me.
Like boo, tap, boo,
Yeah.
tap, boo. Okay, interesting. I'll have to re-listen to it then, see what it sounds like. But yeah, this song didn't really do much for me.
That's fair.
I don't really like. This is where I really didn't like Smith as a vocalist. I think it's his inflections and like the way he delivers lyrics.
He is very British.
It reminds me of Chris Martin from Coldplay.
That honestly,
Yeah.
they do kind of get compared a lot. They're like the darker Coldplay.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of hear that. I
If
guess
that makes sense. They're less happy Coldplay.
hot stuff.
Warm pause.
Warm pause.
Warm pause.
There it is. I set him up. You knock him down, Matt.
Bowling. Anyway, Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, you really got not much else to say on this one. Like, it's a cool, like, I guess, continuation of the energy, but like thematically, I just don't really get it.
I think I like a lot of the vocal effects. Like, there's like this weird like reverb thing where he's like, "She said to me," like that shit. For some reason, I'm like, yeah, reverb, cool.
Nice.
Let's say we keep going on.
Yes. So next up, we have No Bad Days, and Matt, we got one. We got a premature fuck on our hands.
Oh, really?
We do.
Yeah, this does have the explicit tag. I'm not a big fan of this one.
I agree.
Just like fuck 'em.
Yeah, it's like, why? Like, you're Bastille. You can't say that. You're not allowed.
Dude, think of your audience.
Ask your mom.
Think of your audience. The people who watch Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
There's a lot of overlap between the Peabody and Sherman community and Bastille.
It's a fucking pipeline. Let's
Yeah.
say you watch the movie. You just
Beware the pipeline.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't like this song. That he has a cover, not a cover because it's his own song. Later on in the really extended version, he has this like sort of revisit to the song. It's more of an unplugged version.
Okay.
And it's a lot better.
Gotcha.
Still
I would
same
assume
lyrics.
here, I mean, like, I feel like also, I guess like tonally, like it's a calm down from the first two, but it feels like way too fast. So like it kind of like pauses the momentum that this album already had, which kind of sucks. One comment I would like to read verbatim was, nice piano solo. Unfortunately, it's interrupted by the drums in the background that sound like they were recorded on a PlayStation iToy.
The drums are pretty bad. I will contend to that. That's pretty, yeah.
Like,
No, for
I don't
sure.
know why. Like, they're just mixed so poorly on this album, and they're just not like that interesting either.
It's a shame because I also noticed like recently upon listen, because I randomly was just like wanting to listen to like a bunch of their stuff. They do sound a lot more compressed as the years go by. And you notice it here, but you really notice it in Doom Days.
Okay.
Because some of them sound like they're recorded on a fucking 3DS.
Yeah.
But then like
Well, Toledo can do it.
But then Car Seat Headrest recorded it on a 3DS.
And it was good.
And then it got a revival.
Yeah.
But not Eminem's revival.
revival.
I fucking hated every moment of that. Tune into all those episodes we mentioned.
Yeah, episode 8, episode 12, I think. Yeah, you get those.
Oh man. I'm not a big fan of No Bad Days.
Nah, I don't really like this one. So let's fucking move on
Yeah.
to this next track. We have Brave New World. The only note I have is that I said again verbatim, yo, this sounds like Sailing by Christopher Cross.
I mean, I could kind of hear that for sure.
Just like the intro when it's just like the strings in Sailing. It just gives me that kind of vibe.
A lot of the interludes, I'm not the biggest fan,
They kind of suck.
a little bit because they're too. Honestly, some of them are too short, and I feel like why hire an orchestra if you're only going to use it like
For a little
sometimes?
bit. I will say all the interludes have really good transitions into the songs that follow. I believe they're 3 for 3 on their transition. So good job, Bastille.
I think
You got
really,
a good one?
I think you really need to be like into like the whole scene to like really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And since I kind of was, I can sort of see as somebody who like doesn't really
Yeah.
listen to them why like it probably seems like a real weird tonal shift and like
Yeah.
so yeah.
Because I mean, it's just really like spacey and weird. Like for most of these instrumentals, going with these like synth wave or like alt pop kind of instrumentals, it's a tonal clash. But I've already said that. So let's say we move on to this next one.
I agree.
Next up, we got Back to the Future. Might be my favorite song on the album. I feel like it's fun. It's got a really like nice bass line, actually a really good bass line, and this also has actually a pretty cool drum beat. Is it this song or is this a different one? Never mind, it does not have a really cool drum beat. That comes later. But this is the song that I wanted to call out. The lyric, "Why don't we just blade run away?" Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, come on.
I didn't even know that was a lyric.
It's so fucking stupid.
Like I mentioned, like a lot of the songs, I'm pretty sure even this one is on my playlist because I think I included everything except the interludes, but half the time I just skip to like Wild World songs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's
Not bad.
I like the fact, I just like the fact that I have more Bastille content in my playlist to shuffle around as I please. But none of these songs, except for one of them,
Okay.
I would say I go back to.
Gotcha. I mean, like, there's not really a lot memorable on this album, I'm afraid.
No,
Yeah.
and you really got to be deep in like the fucking like thing to really like it.
Yeah.
Which I was.
You gotta be a Bastiller, right?
Exactly. A bastard, if you will. But anyway, let's want to move on.
Sure. Next up, we have Plug In. So we have more harmonizer vocals, some whack ass fucking lyrics. Bro brings up virtual porn. That's crazy. I would not expect that on a Bastille album at all.
No. From the makers of Pompeii.
Yeah, this is basically Bastille's society song about like why society sucks and like how technology is corrupting everyone. And it's just, I've heard this before done way fucking better.
The thing is, too, is like they already had an album that was kind of like that.
Okay.
Or they had an album with a track that was like that. It's
Yeah.
literally like the self-titled song on their one album before this, Doom Days, called Doom Days.
Ah,
And it's fucking wild.
interesting.
And honestly, just
Is it also kind of a rap? Because like Smith's got like a flow on this song. It's weird. He speaks in triplets and it's like very odd to hear.
here's the thing. In an interview, I remember someone said that that Dan Smith has like this amazing way of adapting to new song like vibes and like themes and genres almost. To be honest, though, I would disagree because on Doomday, like I feel like on Wild World, and I keep referencing the first two albums. The first two albums, I promise, are way better than the last two they released. But and all the fucking EPs. Do not talk about the EPs. But anyway, like the first two albums, they have like it's just like him singing. It's a nice, alternative indie kind of pop album, whatever. Once it gets to Doomdays, it starts to get weird because he like kind of starts getting into like not kind of like the weird like sing rap. Scene. There's one song, the song Doomdays actually is literally like, and that's also another Society song.
Gotcha.
But it's just wild.
Yeah, like it just doesn't work. Like it's a weird style to choose and lyrics that are just really shallow.
And his voice is so heavy and husky and like he can belt, which is really cool. And I think his belting moments shine a lot more in his earlier stuff, which I appreciate. But like as like a fast like mumble rap singer, like
it doesn't work.
Like you got so many skills ahead of you, man. Don't try to be Drake.
Yeah, dude. Like you're the Pompeii guy.
Yeah, you're the Pompeii guy. Mr. Peabody.
Yeah. Oh shit, that's what they asked him.
Mr. Pomp Body, actually.
Mr. Palm Body. Next up, we have Promises.
This is the spoken word portion,
It
right?
is by Rizm Ahmed.
To be honest with you, like, this is my least favorite.
Oh, I can 100% see why. The song kind of sucks ass.
It's not even like a song. It's like don't get me wrong.
Interlude, yeah.
I don't like to knock poetry because I feel like people need, like, whatever way they want to express themselves is fine.
But when you use the word gonads and expect to be taken seriously,
yeah,
that's when you have an issue.
A little bit. It's also just weirdly placed in between Plug-in and then the track that I really like.
Yeah.
It's a weird, like...
This album has really weird pacing and just, like, album flow. It's strange. And, like, also his delivery is all, like, miracle, spherical, lyrical. It's, like, cool, dude.
It's spherical.
Spherical!
Have you ever seen the edit of Selena Gomez's Love You Like a Love Song?
No.
But it transitions into... It's like... A lyrical spherical. It's like an auto-tune version of
Josh,
and then it zooms in on Walter Nichols's face, and it's so funny.
That's fucking great.
That was like the one piece of media from 8th grade that like still holds up.
Nice.
And is not offensive that I used to watch and can still watch. So there we go.
Bet.
Anything else to say about Promises?
Nah, it's just not very good.
Well, I promise you, I personally like this track a lot.
Yeah, it's all right.
I like it.
It transitions very nicely from Promises, so that's good. This is one I was talking about where it has a really cool drum beat where there's like an emphasis on 2 and the end of 2.
Yeah.
It's cool. There's a weird Graceland reference in here for some reason too.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, Grace landed on the bed or some shit. It's just an odd choice.
Oh, did she now? But no, like this one is like kind of fun because this is all supposed to take place like within like the virtual world when they like link in.
Okay.
When they jack in, yeah. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. When they're in the system.
My dad's not a phone. Duh. Great episode. Yeah. Please listen to the last episode that we talked about. It was with Tom. Dude, it was
fun.
It was really fucking
good
fun.
time.
We had a lot of great laughs with that one. But I like this one because like, well, one, I think sound-wise, I just like how upbeat it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice like comeback from what we've been hearing after this kind of like downward slope.
I think they tried to make like an album that was like a concept album, but like also have like happy sounding songs so it can market to people who like. But it's weird though.
See, because they don't like lean into it. That's the issue with this album is like you want to like make this statement, but you're making songs like Shut Off the Light. So it's like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like you have to pick a lane.
I appreciate the ambition for sure.
Yeah.
But I like the overall sound of the song. This song just makes me feel good vibes, even though it's about like, just, oh, we're giving in again. Shut off the lights.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. I mean, it's got a nice sax solo too.
It is pretty dope.
Which I always like. It's one of the better moments, but again, tonally, it just doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't. But I do have it on like I have like a crisp like summer playlist.
Okay.
And I do have this on here. And when it comes on in my car, I bump, I vibe.
Nice. You turn out the lights.
To say the least. And then I crash.
Yeah.
I turn off my headlights and go straight
to a telephone
into
pole.
the 7-Eleven. But anyway, Shut Off the Lights. I personally like it, but
yeah, it's one of the better moments on this album.
it kind of is the flip-floppity part that's a little bit like...
Yeah, flip floppity hip don't stoppity. As we move on to this next track, Stay Awake.
This one is like, I don't know.
It's weird.
It is
It's
weird.
got the like text to speech intro, which is very strange, and the harmonizer vocals come back, which is weird and very cheesy for the concept.
This is the conundrum of like this album, and I feel like this song kind of highlights that a lot.
The Ken conundrum, if you will.
Yes, the Ken conundrum of the fact that the song kind of sucks dick, but at the same time, I have it in my playlist and sometimes won't skip it. Oh no! I mean, I don't hate the song. The intro just makes it weird for me, and the rest of the song is fine. But it's just I don't like the text to speech.
It's got a good bass line. Again, there are some shitty lyrics. Like Dan Smith says he needs to get laid.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's weird. Like what I liked about like I keep saying their first two songs. I promise they're better. Like the first two songs were not really about love that much. But then he started leaning into the whole thing around Doom Days of being like, oh, I'm lonely.
Yeah.
But if I'm not happy, nobody can be happy. I'm Dan Smith.
I'm Mr. Bastille.
I'm Mr. Potter. If I'm not happy, Mr. Bastille. Yeah. But then he just relates it to the apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's for like twice. This is the second time he's related to the apocalypse discography.
Gotta fit the theme, no matter how minuscule.
Man, I can't wait for the apocalypse. But it's like a. What kind of genre? What's a good genre we can like link with the apocalypse? He went. The first one was like this weird, like Doom Days is like a weird like mumble rap kind of deal with some nice like actually has some pretty good beats on it, I will say. But this one kind of leaned into like this weird like pseudo synthwave, like
synthwave alt pop, and like I guess that's all I would really say. It's like techno maybe. It's weird. It's a weird like hodgepodge of influences.
Dude, I can't wait for the apocalyptic ska album. It's gonna be incredible.
I know, man. Featuring the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. The Bastille Mighty Boss Tones crossover we've all been waiting for.
Dude, I can't wait. Mark your calendars,
The
ladies and
Mighty
gentlemen.
Bastille Tones.
Again, Stay Awake though.
Nah. I don't like this one.
It's all right. It's fine.
Yeah.
The intro, I do skip it because of the intro on many occasions.
The intro is not very good.
No, text to speech is just not a good.
No, I mean, it's funny when we do it because, we're the family album.
Of course, isn't that right?
And that's just how Kyle sounds.
Oh.
Wait.
Man, I guess I kind of wish that we did have this hyperlink thing. I can imagine all of our good times with Kyle.
I know. Matt, you know what else is really sad?
What would that be?
That the title track of this album also fucking blows ass.
Is that the one where it's like, just give me the future?
Yeah. And it has a funny moo ha 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 to open up the song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the song sucks.
I don't know. Like this one, again, I don't skip it when it comes in my playlist, but I'm never just like, man, I really could just
Gotta listen to Give Me the Future.
Yeah, of course.
It sounds very like weirdly reminiscent of Coming in the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
It's strange.
I can kind of see that. It's got like a similar like
feel to it.
Yeah.
And there's also some like pitched down vaporwave sounding instrumentals. It almost reminds me of a Halsey song a little bit.
Honestly, I'd prefer. I
agree.
I feel like honestly, I prefer Halsey a little bit more, given the fact that I've listened to that more recently than this one before, like now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like this album had a lot of potential for the most part, but it just kind of didn't lean into it enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because here's the thing also with Bastille albums for me, every single time they've released one, I always start off being like, this fucking sucks. And then I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like it.
Not that bad.
I kind of like it, but it's definitely not my favorite.
I got you.
So, I mean, a lot of the community kind of feels that way.
That's fair. I mean, like, I will say this, they do try to go back to the concept of escapism, but at the end of the song, they start embracing escapism. Again, it's just... They can't pick a lane, man. It's very frustrating to listen,
Nah, especially for I feel like especially for somebody who doesn't know like the whole context.
Yeah.
either.
So like, I guess if I did watch the videos, maybe I have a more like an appreciation for it.
I can show them to you later.
All right.
They may add nothing, but it's okay.
Hey, I will know unless I try.
This track's also just kind of meh.
Yeah, definitely does not deserve the title track. Next up, we have Club 57. The song I'm not a fan of, but I like the message or like the concept. It's about like a queer centered club that was like popular with like Keith Haring and like I guess like gay figures from like the 80s and 90s, which is cool, very respectable. But musically, it has some whistles. You call it Karma Karma, I call it Chameleon. Some weird lyrics in there,
Yeah. I like this. I like the overall. I actually kind of like the overall sound of this song because it's weird. It's really weird. And this is like the embrace escapism portion because it's the parts that sound sweeter on this album and like more like palatable compared to like the really kind of like grungy sort of like
drone stuff. Yeah.
Those are supposed to be like the moments where he's like within like this virtual space and like outside it's like the
Gotcha.
no bad days. So like, you know, it is what it is. I personally like this one because I just think it sounds so weird. It's like a weird club beat.
Yeah, it also has like whistling in there. So it's strange.
It reminds me of a Selena Gomez song called it's Kill 'Em With Kindness.
Okay.
It reminds me of that because that also has like this weird whistling kind of beat to it.
Gotcha.
It's like a weird like kind of like it just has that weird kind of like modern runway music take vibe that a lot of pop artists were leaning into a couple of years ago.
Gotcha. I mean, I can't hate it because it's a very good message and like idea and like a love letter to that whole like era, I guess. But just musically, I don't really like it. And again, it doesn't really fit.
I will say one thing I do kind of commend Dan Smith for. I was about to say Dan Steele.
Aykroyd.
I was about to say Dan Aykroyd. So many Dans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
God, Dan
Aykroyd, lead singer, Bastille.
Dude, I love the Ghostbusters like concept album.
I know, it was actually surprisingly tasteful.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. If somebody made a fucking Ghostbusters concept album, I'd listen to that. Like,
Hell yeah, dude.
if it's good, but it has to be like a specific kind of 80s music.
Yeah.
Like it has to be like very much like retro 80s kind of like
reminiscent of the Ghostbusters theme song, you know?
But I'd enjoy a song about Gozer.
Yeah. Vince Clortho.
Yeah, sure.
And Slimer.
Yeah, sure. Slimer. Stay Puffed.
Yeah.
We're just naming Ghostbusters things now.
As you know, it's popular with the kids. You got to keep their attention. Be like, oh, I know that.
Except it's popular with the kids, except the one with all the SNL characters.
Yeah, that one is not very good.
I also said characters. They are real people. They are not characters.
On SNL, they're characters.
That's true. They're God. Anyway, let's get back to the album.
Next up,
my apologies.
We have the last interlude, Total Dissociation. It's fine, I guess. It's got like an ME3 kind of vibe with the synths and the keys. But yeah, it's just a classic synthwave riff followed by a cool orchestral break.
Yeah,
and it leads into the last track pretty nicely.
I think we could probably just jump into the last track.
So the last track is Future Holds, which is a finale I feel is very unearned.
Okay. I feel like it's kind of nice. You say your reasons, I'll say my reasons.
Okay.
Because I actually like this track.
I mean, I feel like it's a solid track, but on this album it doesn't fit because the rest of the track didn't really lead up to it.
I see what you mean, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Because like BIM, the feature for the chorus is really good. She carries the song. But like there's more harmonizer vocals. There's another premature fuck. And like conceptually it feels like, oh, you guys, we really triumphed over the future. But it's like, did we?
No.
Did you listen to fucking Plug In?
No. That's true. Story-wise, they kind of it wasn't really Freytag's pyramid. It was more like Freytag's
the parabola,
if you will. There's like there are dozens of listeners that are just not even going to understand what we just said.
I don't even understand what you said.
Freytag's pyramid?
Is that like a storytelling like method or something?
It's got like the exposition, the rising action, climax, falling action.
I do know that.
Yeah, I don't know school very much, but I know some school.
Nice.
That's it.
Hell yeah, dude. Guys, stay in school.
Please don't end up like me, listening to fucking "Give Me the Future" by Bastille.
It's a fate worse than death.
But yeah, honestly, I do really like the track, but I can see in relation to the other songs in the album, it does. I can see how it's not unearned, especially since it didn't really conquer anything.
Exactly. Like it feels like this whole moment of like, you know, closure and like triumph, but it's like for what?
I think they tried to play it off sort of like, oh, well, this is it. We're just going to make do with it. Who knows what the future
Guys,
holds?
I guess they really did give me the future.
Oh, man. Wow. I can't believe it. Well, this has been the family album forever because we're not coming back after this.
No, we have to search for Kyle.
In the afterlife.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, that is the final track.
Yeah.
I just like the piano.
The piano is pretty good. Bassline is good for the most part till the end. Then it has like this weird style shift and it's kind of weird. There's also weird vocal effects in the last chorus, which I feel like bog it down a little bit, but you know, I've said enough about why I don't like this album. Shall we move on to our final thoughts, Matt?
I think so.
All right. As I've stated many a times, this album is tonally confused. It does not stay in a lane. It tries to go through different avenues of concepts, but none of them really mesh well together, especially when they're trying to tell this deeper story with social commentary. And musically, this album is kind of boring for the most part when they're not doing just like the typical synthwave stuff. They're doing just generic alt pop kind of sounding stuff. The bass is actually very good. I will commend Mr. Farquharson.
Rip, he's in the belly of a dragon right now.
Exactly, but you know, your last contribution to Bastille will not be forgotten.
He actually recorded this inside inside the dragon's belly.
Yes, it's like the Sarlacc takes 100 years to digest.
You will see a Bastille song in Shrek 5.
I do not like Dan Smith as a vocalist. I think that's just like a personal thing. I just don't like his inflections and his accent is just really strong. Maybe I could get used to it, but I don't really know.
It's very like I can definitely see why. Like for sure. It's very particular and it's like it is very British.
Mm-hmm.
It's very British.
Lyrically, this album is fucking terrible. There's like some whack ass lyrics, some like jokey reference lyrics that just don't really work and detract from the overall experience. I like the orchestra and the utilization of horns, but like they're not used that often in place of the harmonizer, which is used way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And even like the one text to speak instance is one too many.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm going to give this like about a 3.3 out of 10, and I'm going to give it a D tier.
That's fair. That's fair. For the most part, like I understand why you don't like it for sure. I just really like it because I'm just a huge like fan of Bastille, a bastard, if you will.
If you will.
And honestly, like I think when it came out, I was just happy for more like Bastille content, if that makes sense.
I gotcha.
Like, because they always take like a little while before they release other stuff. They took like a fucking like so long hiatus between between Wild World, I think, and Doom Days. They took like a really fucking long break. And after Doom Days, like nobody really knew where they were gonna go with next because it was so that whole album itself is like a tonal shift even from the previous one.
Gotcha.
I think like I really only like this album in terms of the sound. I like it because it sounds like club music and with a weird twist to it.
Okay.
But like I also think, in my opinion, at the same time, it's a bit of a betrayal from their usual sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like a lot of their older stuff better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, this feels kind of like a very much dramatic shift from what they've been doing.
I also feel like lyrically, his lyrics were like a lot more poetic in the first two albums than like the last two he's released.
Yeah, dude, it's all over the place on this album, man.
He just like goes into this weird thing of like describing things, which I don't really like when people do in music. Mm-hmm. It's one of the main issues I have actually with Brendan Urie as like a musician and like a lyricist. But no, I like it just because it was more Bastille fodder for my playlist, more filler. But I cannot say it's my favorite Bastille album. So in terms of ranking, I would give this like a C-. All
right.
Yeah, I'd say like not C-, not C+, just a C.
Solid C?
Solid C.
Fair.
And then probably like a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Nothing more, nothing less. Like it goes above the halfway mark, and because I can still find enjoyment out of it. But like none of the songs except for the one Shut Off the Lights. Yeah. That song I just really like. I just like the sound and it makes me feel it's a fun song. So I can not a fun song, but like
Nate, get the fuck out.
How many times do you have to teach you this lesson, young man?
Which is funny because he's actually like 40, I think.
Really? Wow.
He looks so young.
But anyway, I like it, but it's definitely not my favorite. So
I don't like it. It's definitely not my favorite.
Fair enough. We can agree on one thing, at least in those statements. But yeah, that's Give Me the Future.
Yeah. Overall, interesting episode. You know, a classic new wave album and a more recent Bastille album. I actually had a list of all the albums listened to in 2022, and since this was released, there I added to the list. You want to know where it came in?
Where?
Second to last.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right above Season Spring by Weezer.
Oh yeah, Season Spring wasn't the best. It
I did not like it.
was all right. I like 2 of the songs.
That's fair.
We could talk about this another time though.
Exactly, because it's the end of the episode, Matt.
Yes, it is.
Well, not much else to say unless you got any final thoughts.
Nah, that'll be it for me, my friend.
All right, well, Family Has, as always, I'm your host, AJ Sonari.
And I'm your other host, Matt Glass.
We will see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Peace.